What's going on, Shield Brothers and Shield Maidens? I'm True.
And I'm Mendy.
And we are Shield Dress, a group of friends and military members that absolutely love tabletop RPGs. And today, we're getting into another Daggerheart Class Build for the Warrior. So let's get into it. Alright, so for the Warrior, Mendy, what was your concept going into your Warrior build?
Yeah, real quick before I get into the concept, True, I wanted to say, if this is your first time ever playing tabletop role-playing game and you needed to pick a class, pick the Warrior.
Hell yeah.
It's solid, it's very strong, and it's very friendly to beginners. But for me, True, my go-to, I wanted to be a dual wielder because it's so much fun. It's what every badass in every single hero movie, anime, it's just pretty cool. So I just wanted to be
Absolutely.
your standard, that's the jock of the room. That's the dude with two swords. That's the one whenever fighting gets a little testy. Run him into the fight. Everything will be fine. Got to be your knight in shining armor, if you will.
Okay. So what was the community and ancestry you went with?
Yeah, so if you've watched this channel long enough, you know that we are obsessed with the Seaborn community. So
Yes,
I had to go Seaborn. In my personal opinion, I believe it's the most powerful of classes. That doesn't always mean it's the best of classes. Pick what you want. I went for damage here, so I went with Seaborn. Those extra tokens to add to your damage is very, very helpful, and it even matters later on, right? It's something you're not going to be upset picking.
It
For my
builds
ancestor
nicely as you level.
Yeah.
So that's the great part about that. So at least you
100%.
can expect it to scale nicely.
Yeah. And I went with a ancestry that I have not chosen in this series yet. So I went with Orc. I thought Orc was very, very fun. Now, it's got your typical parallels to D&D with your Orc subclass, or to your Orc ancestry. You have, whenever you have one hit point remaining, your armor score is doubled. That's kind of a nice caveat to the unyielding defense, if you will.
Yeah, that
if I'm
unyielding
not,
fury or something like that. I forget what their
whatever
feature
it is,
but basically you don't go down.
Basically, orcs are very hard to kill. But main reason I took tusks. I really like the tusk feature on the second part of this card, that 1d6 to the damage roll. Very nice, especially early on. For my subclass here, True, I went ahead and picked Call of the Slayer.
Okay.
This one scales very nicely whenever you get your mastery. Mm-hmm. Really liked Call of the Slayer. For traits, I put a +2 into agility, and I put my additional +1s into strength and instinct. I took my minus into presence. This guy isn't going to be the smooth talker. He's going to be an orc. He's just kind of there to, wheel and deal, right?
Hell yeah.
He's not going to be the face of the party, I should say.
I was going to say, he's the dude you call in when shit goes wrong, not when you need somebody to talk to.
It's the dude you call in whenever the bard has failed his job. Yeah. Is basically what he is. We don't typically go over starting weapons, but I thought it was important here. I went in and picked up the broadsword for my primary, and I picked up the short sword for my secondary. And one thing I really like about Daggerheart is the paired feature. Because with the short sword paired, you add a +2 to primary weapon damage and melee. I just think that's very cool. It's something I haven't seen in TTRPGs. I think it's a good touch. But that's what I did for all the bare bones. Now we're going to get into domain deck cards. For the first domain deck card that I picked up Deft Maneuvers. This is one that's probably just going to stay in my vault the entire time. It's very handy. It just makes movement around the battlefield very easy to navigate without stressing yourself out. And as a martial character without any range, it's something you're going to need. So I picked up Deft Maneuvers, and I also picked up Retaliation. I really liked Retaliation from the Blade domain. Whenever you take damage from a creature, mark a stress and immediately deal weapon damage up to the creature at your proficiency. Which your proficiency will, it'll scale up as you level up. So something you can always throw in there.
And there are those options for taking the proficiency increase anyway. So if you really like that and you want to make that a part of the thing that you do, just keep increasing your proficiency. You'll deal a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's good sustained damage. It's like I can deal damage no matter what.
Right.
But that's my level 1 and character creation true. What did you do at level 1?
So what I did, actually, I'm going to start off with the class features because I feel like it almost needs to be stated here because there are some great class features with the warrior. Between battle strategist, which gives you essentially the ability to stress somebody out by marking a stress, and kind of like how you're going to outmaneuver them a little bit. Same goes for attack of opportunity. Gives you some solid options that nobody else gets because nobody else gets to do attacks of opportunity when they move out of your melee range, Same goes for combat training, that you get to ignore the burden of equipping a weapon so you can enjoy the benefits of having an overly burdensome weapon and still be wielding another weapon on top of that. So I love that. I think it's great. But for me, I had to go with a concept that was more near and dear to Toldif in particular. Really love this more Dracona area that I have in here. And it's kind of like Japanese feudal war almost to some degree. And so I wanted to think of a clan-specific warrior. And this one is going to be for one that deals with a lot of the owning that are coming through. And so had to go with Dracona. Absolutely had to. Blue scales, all that jazz. Because let's face it, elemental weapon you can't go wrong with, and the increase to your damage thresholds is just super nice.
Yeah, could be the best ancestry in Daggerheart.
Really could be. In all honesty, it's very strong. It's very strong. And same goes for Ridgeborn. Ridgeborn, I absolutely love. It's mainly because of the fact that you get that extra armor slot at character creation, so you're coming in with 7 armor slots instead of the 6 that everybody else gets. So, can't say no to that.
With a +1 to your AC, I mean, that matched up with a Dracona is just so strong.
Yeah, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, for the things that I took, I did take leather armor, mainly because I didn't want to lose his evasion score in any way, shape, or form. So, maintain the leather armor. And then he's going with a greatsword. Okay? Greatsword and then a short sword. That greatsword, though, D10 plus 3, I absolutely love that. That's a good amount of damage. But on top of that, I get to roll 1 extra damage die, which I absolutely love because then I can drop the lowest from there. So, get to roll all the damage die, add 1 more, and then drop the lowest one. Can't go wrong. So you're starting to build that solid damage up. So, anywho. Getting into what I took for my level 1 here, my subclass is going to be Call of the Brave.
Okay.
Call of the Brave, I think, builds rather nicely as we go, especially when you get to the mastery. Absolutely love what you can do with this. And it is very much so supposed to be that frontline kind of guy. And that's exactly how I see this Dracona, is very much so in the front lines, always and forever. He's never going to be the man in the back. He's never going to be the one with a ranged weapon besides his breath weapon. But that is his place, is in the vanguard. So.
Oh, yeah.
With that in mind, though, the first 2 that I took for my domain cards is going to be not good enough. Because if I ever roll that 1 or 2 on my damage dice, I get to re-roll that sucker. So that's what I'm looking for, first and foremost. And then second, of course, is much like you, retaliation. It's just too good. All the reasons you stated, you have to take it. The Blade Domain deck is probably my favorite deck right now as far as for the Warrior. At least with this kind of build, when you want to be upfront and damage, I think it's great. But I love the complements that the Bone deck comes with for the Warrior class. So yeah, that was my level 1 though. I'm enjoying this already.
I love it. It's a great level 1, and that goes back to my point that I made at the beginning of the video, True, is like if you want to be like, if you're a brand new player and you want to get in, Warrior might be your best chance to roll a bunch of dice and, deal some heavy damage right at level 1. So it's an easier learning curve as you learn your character and kind of the more nuanced details of TTRPGs.
Yes. Hell yeah. Well, then level 2, what'd you do for it?
Level 2. What's our tradition, True?
Increase those traits, baby.
Yeah, we increased the traits. So I went ahead and I bumped my agility up to 3 here.
Nice.
And I'm going agility instinct build, so I added a 1 to my instinct as well. It just kind of felt right. Additionally, other than the tradition of increasing our traits, I picked up a health slot. As you mentioned, we're going to be part of the vanguard. We're going to be up front. We're going to be taking damage. We need as much survivability as possible. So, health slot, increased traits, and then I picked a domain deck card that is going to stay in my loadout literally for until I reach level 10. It's going to stay in there until the campaign's over, basically. It's one you're never going to move out, and that's going to be Reckless. True, it's too good at level 2.
So good.
At the cost of 1 stress, you get to roll with advantage. No matter what. There's no stipulations. There's like, no, you can't do it here. You can't do it here. It's just a free advantage if you have a stress to burn.
Absolutely. Which is going to be so crucial, especially because with this build, you're probably not going to use that much stress. And if you're leveling up, you're most likely going to take some stress increases anyways. So you're most likely going to have some stress sitting around throughout the battle. And this is a great way to utilize that, especially in those key moments that you know you need to get that advantage. Yeah, love it.
100%. Yeah, I mean, short and sweet to the point, True. That's my level 2.
Love it, yeah. So for me, much like yourself, increase those traits. So went for a 3 in strength, because obviously I'm going to be doing a strength build using great weapons. Yeah. And then I also went with a knowledge build. I'm a bit of a sucker for strength and knowledge at the exact same time. You always are. Always are, yep. If you guys saw our one-shot in DC20, I did a strength knowledge build as well. Unfortunately, I didn't get to really utilize the knowledge portion of that, but you know.
If there's any way to incorporate knowledge into a character, True is going to do it.
I will find a way. And you're going to love how the knowledge bit builds in, because unlike with DC20, this actually has a bit more synergy going on with it. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a little bit. I did also take an armor slot, because, you know, again, I'm gonna need that. And then I took strategic approach.
That's a good one,
and this is the bit where the knowledge comes in. So after a long rest, I can place a number of tokens equal to my knowledge trait, which is exactly why I wanted to get my knowledge up. Let's see here. For when I move into melee range of an enemy and make an attack roll against them, you may spend 1 token to choose an option below. I can either make an attack at advantage, much like Reckless here, right? Yep. And then I can, I can clear a stress on an ally in melee with that adversary. Or I can add 1d8 to the damage that I do. I think it's great, but that's my level 2, man. What did you do at level 3?
Let me get into my level 3 then. So level up options. I picked up a stress slot. I know we mentioned that we're not going to be using too much stress in this build, but with Reckless, I wanted to just have that extra stress slot, right? Yep. So go ahead and get an extra one. And then I also increased my armor slot, much like you did at level 2, just for pure survivability. I mean, we're the frontliners. But for my domain deck card, True, I liked this card a lot. I mean, as you can tell, I'm kind of going towards a bone loadout, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I picked up Scramble here. I mean, when it would deal damage to you, you can avoid the damage entirely. And I like that. Like just once per short rest. That's a very small price to pay. This is going to be one of those cards that probably moves in and out as like I foresee combat coming. Like if it's a day of just full on, hey, we're doing a full dungeon crawl, this is going to stay in there. Absolutely. Because you got to think, I mean, like once per combat, you can just avoid damage entirely. It's very nice to have.
Hell yeah. Well, for mine, I did add HP and stress. Obviously, going to need that. It may not be a lot of stress that I'm going to need, but it's there when I want to have it. So that's what I'm all about. And I also took Scramble for the exact same reasons. Once per short rest is wonderful because you can take your short rest at any point in time, pretty much. It's going to give you at least 2 to 3 times a day that you're going to be able to negate damage entirely. So, and get to move on top of that. So, yeah, I think it's great for that.
And what I like about it, there's no stipulations on the amount of damage. Like your GM could be like, hey, this is for like, 15 damage, which is a ton in Daggerheart, right?
Well, and especially
You could be
early
like,
on, you're like,
nope.
holy crap.
Yeah,
Like, nah, dog, I ain't dealing with that.
exactly. Yeah.
That's level 3. Level
Love it.
4, man, what'd you do?
Level 4, picked up a invasion slot, went ahead and increased my invasion, right?
Nice.
Much for the same things I've been talking about this entire episode is survivability whenever you're playing the warrior. You don't want to go down.
No.
So I picked up an evasion, and then I increased my major threshold for the exact same reason. But for domain deck cards, I picked up fortified armor for much of the same reasons. Survivability. The +2 to your AC while you're wearing armor is very solid. And once per short rest, which, like we were just talking about, could be, up to 3 times a day, you can use an armor slot without marking it.
Yes.
Pretty big. This is like the last level where you're trying to like bolster your defenses. You're still dealing heavy damage, especially with the Call of the Slayer subclass. I mean, I still got those D6s. Yeah. I still got my Slayer dice. Like, I'm still dealing good combat, so I'm just utilizing the resources I have to make myself as tanky and hard to hit as possible.
Oh, yeah.
But with all that said, that's going to be my level 4 true. What did you do at level 4?
I did a lot of the same with only one difference. I also took evasion +1. I also took a major increase. Just because I know that's going to be necessary, especially if you're going to be up front, you're going to want to change those thresholds. Even with, I know the new rules coming, that's not going to be a level up option at that point. Like, you don't need to worry about that kind of thing because it's just going to be tied to your armor. But here in 1.5, definitely a necessity, especially if you want to be able to drive or have a significantly higher chance of driving down major damage into minor damage. Increasing your major threshold is going to be really good. But I also took Deadly Focus. Deadly Focus, again, it's a once per short rest. There's a lot of those here in Daggerheart, and I do enjoy the mix of once per long rest, once per short rest, all these different types of resources that you can utilize here. I can apply this focus towards a single target. Until you attack another target, you defeat the creature, or the battle ends, add +1 to your proficiency. We're just ensuring that we're going to be high damage output against one creature, which I think is fantastic. And even if it is just once per short rest, you're going to come across that creature and or big bad or the captain or whatever it is, somebody that you're going to want to make sure you focus in on and wreck. This is how you can do that. That's level 4. Now we tier up. Level 5. How'd you go about it?
We tier up. Oh, we tier up, true. And you know what that means? My agility is now a 4 and my instinct is now a 3.
Hell yeah.
Additionally, I upgraded my subclass because I love the Call of the Slayer. The Slayer dice are very nice, and I really like the upgrade in the subclass here. With anytime you make a successful attack roll, you can spend a hope to add 1 weapon dice from your secondary weapon to the damage. That's nice. That's very nice. Like, that's just extra sustained damage, especially with, factoring in your Slayer dice. Like, you can kind of nuke here at level 5.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like about it. I took the subclass for the mastery, but I do like the second phase of this subclass. As far as my domain deck cards go, I went ahead and picked up Champion's Edge. And this is the synergy that comes in with Reckless, because with Reckless we're going to be rolling with advantage often. I know that doesn't factor in critical hits and stuff, but you're going to be getting a lot of critical successes on attack rolls, and we're going to have the hope to spend. And I love these options: clear a hit point, clear a marked armor slot, or mark 1 hit point to the target of the attack. It's just something nice to throw in your loadout, kind of set it and forget it. That's my level 5 true. What'd you do at 5?
So, much like you did, increase my traits: strength +4, knowledge +3. Now I got 3 tokens to use for my strategic approach. I also increased my Call of the Brave to the specialization here, mainly because I do want to get it to the mastery, but I'm not against what it brings in the specialization. While you have no more than 2 hit point slots unmarked, your hope die becomes a D20. I think that's fantastic because a D20 is nuts.
Very nice.
Now, for my domain deck card, I decided to go with Vitality.
Yeah.
Vitality is really nice because you can just choose it, and then once you take the permanent increases, you can toss it to the side, and you don't have to worry about it thereafter. So now it's not occupying my loadout in any way, shape, or form. It allows me to still maintain my top 5 that I want without having to sacrifice anything to keep this going. So I decided to go for my permanent increases to thresholds +2 and then stress +1. Because again, I think the stress is going to be something that you want to have at your disposal. This is a good way to just get that free stress slot right then and there. And same goes for the thresholds. The thresholds are going to continue to increase as you go.
Yeah.
This is just a good way to give it just a little bit of a boost, you know? So.
Yeah. Great card for a frontliner.
Yeah, it's great for a frontliner, great for a warrior that plans on being in the thick of it, but that's level 5. What the hell did you do at level 6, man?
Pretty boring.
Damn it.
I wouldn't say boring. I picked up an HP slot and a stress slot.
Hell yeah.
Whenever I see them, I grab them. It's just what I do. They're nice to have. There's nothing more to say. For domain deck card, I took Rapid Riposte. I like Rapid Riposte a lot, True.
That's a good one.
We're gonna be evading from attacks pretty often, and we're gonna have the stress to spend because like we got a pretty good evasion here with this warrior. So it's one of those cards like you're going into combat, just throw on Rapid Riposte, and you're gonna be able to deal some sustained damage that you don't really need to make any like action trackers for. But that's my level 6, True. Shall we move on to your level 6?
Hell yeah, man. I also did the same boring-ass thing. I took HP and stress increase.
Stress. Yeah.
That's how I know we're a little bit too connected at the hip here, because we think way too much alike right now. We've been doing this for too long, apparently. But I took Recovery. So during short rest, you can always... Yeah, I like it a lot for the fact that I can swap out a short rest option for a long rest option. That I can always choose to do one of those options, I think is pretty great. And then I can spend a hope to let an additional party member do the exact same. That can be a godsend in a moment in which you need to recover all your hit points, or you need to recover all your stress, or what have you. Armor for somebody else, You can do a lot with your downtimes, and this just allows you to make it a little bit more effective during the short rest period. So, yeah.
100%.
That's why I like Recovery, though, and that is my level 6. So,
love it, True.
Level 7.
At level 7, I increased my stress slots, and then I added my armor slots. I added 2 armor slots to my character, right?
Yeah.
More of the same, just survivability. But going back into the domains, Blade Touched might be the best touch card in Daggerheart, so I had to take it. I'm just gonna read this one out, True, because it's so stupid.
It's so crazy good.
It's so stupid. Blah blah blah. When the majority of your domain deck cards are in your loadout, which mine are, I think I only have like 1 or 2 bone deck cards in my vault. But attack rolls always take +2 to the result, and you increase your severe damage threshold by 4.
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
Good. Yeah, there's only one other touch deck card that I think I like as much, if not more, than this Blade one, and that would be the Midnight deck one, where you're just getting hope always, just constant overpouring of hope. But this, to me, they're tied right now because of just they do different things. But this is great for a warrior. This is great for any sort of upfront fighter. Blade Touched is the way to go, assuming you have, of course, more Blade cards than you do Bone deck cards here. Because I did the exact same thing. I also took Blade Touched. But what I did instead is I took Proficiency Increase.
Smart.
Because, again, I want to be able to put out that damage as much as possible. And if I'm rolling D10s, I'm just saying, that's going to be wild. So that's mainly what I was after for level 7. Level 8, what'd you do?
Level 8, I mean, what can be said that hasn't already been said?
Increases?
We increase our traits. We up that agility to a 5. We up that instinct to a 4. So we're capped out here. Unless you find some crazy magical equipment that gets your agility more than a 5, we are capped out. In combo, I also upgraded my subclass. I mean, the mastery The mastery for Call of Slayer, I really love because not only does it assist you, it assists your party. I mean, you can give everyone in your party a Slayer dice, which is pretty cool. They've been seeing you do it the entire campaign. Now they get their own. True, I just love the blade deck so much because at level 8 you can pick up Frenzy, and I just love the cinematic like idea of Frenzy. Like you physically go into a frenzy state. You're the most badass person on the entire field right now, and you are on a mission. You're reckless. You're getting beat up, but man, are you dealing some damage.
I love that.
Plus 10 to all your damage rolls.
Plus 10, and then on top of that, you get to increase, what was it, your severe damage threshold? Like, come on now.
By 8. Yeah. Add this in with your Slayer dice that you're going to have, and you're going to have advantage on almost any attack because we took Reckless.
Yeah.
I mean, dude. Come on.
God. Yeah.
But yeah, true. That's my level 8. We both love level 8. I'm excited to hear what you did.
Yeah, so for level 8, I also increased my strength to 5 and knowledge to 4, so had to do it.
Yep.
It's tradition. And then I did Call of the Brave Mastery because, let's face it, you kind of have to here. And what I love about this is that it incorporates a rule that a lot of people don't utilize, particularly in their games, and they should be utilizing it more often, which is the tag team role. We get to do it one extra time, and if you were to initiate it, you only spend 2 hope to do so. I think that's fantastic, because typically you have to spend the 3 hope to do it, and you only get 1 time. I only get 1 time. Now we can do it an additional time. Come on now. So it can be absolutely deadly, and if you don't know what the tag team role is, check out my rules breakdown video that talks about tag team roles. Just saying, group actions, tag team roles. If you don't know about it, that's how you do it. So anywho, back to this. So that's the Call of the Brave Mastery. Now, I absolutely loved, at least from my particular character concept, Battle Cry for my domain deck. Battle Cry I thought was super good. Oh my goodness, absolutely love this because once per short rest, I can basically get a rousing shout or, do some sort of phrase like stand by to get some, and then all of a sudden, all my allies are inspired by this, just, for reasons. And basically, let's see here, all your allies that can hear you each clear a stress, gain a hope, and until you or an ally fails a roll with fear being the caveat, you can take advantage on attack rolls.
It's not
you're looking to kill everybody, and Battle Cry's the way to do it. On top of recovering some stress and gaining a hope, you're just fueling your allies' ability to wreck face. And that's what I love about Battle Cry. But that's my level 8. It's a beautiful level 8. What's your level 9 looking like?
No, level 9, true. Reaching the home stretch here.
Yes, we are.
Level 9, it's one of those levels, man, where you just pick up an HP and stress slot. So that's what I did. Never hurts to have, so I went ahead and grabbed him. But I picked up Reaper Strike, true. I really like Reaper Strike because, it's an immediate 5 hit points. Now, it's one of these cards that it's not going to be in my loadout, very often. I was expecting more from level 9. But whenever it procs, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It could be the final hit for the BBG. It could be one of those heroic moments.
Yes, and I think that's kind of what it's meant for.
I think that's what it's meant for. Yeah. I like it. I like Theater of the Mind. I think Reaper Strike kind of matches that. So that's why I took it. I thought it'd be fun.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you do, man?
Well, I also did an HP, but I increased my evasion score here. Just wanted to make sure that I get a little bit more defensibility in there. But I decided to go with Gore and Glory because I imagine that I'm going to be doing a good amount of damage and hopefully getting a few kills here and there, right? If I do, I can gain a hope or clear a stress. And if I do it with a critical success, I can gain an additional hope or clear an additional stress. And I absolutely love that. That's just fueling me to be doing even more than before because of that. It just
Oh yeah.
keeps your resources in check, so that way you're not bleeding them out too much here. So that's what I like about Gore and Glory. But yeah, level 10 though. Level 10 is where it's at. So what did you do to
Yeah,
reach that God mode?
level 10 is pretty fun. I picked up a stress thought and then I added to my evasion here.
Nice.
Just two things that are also nice to have. But what everyone came for, it's the last domain deck card that you choose, and my choice is going to be Onslaught.
Onslaught, yes.
The first sentence is just so dumb. Anytime you hit, your weapon never deal damage beneath a target's major damage threshold. It's stupid. Yeah. Which
I love that.
Yeah, realistically, that's the way it should be. If you ever reach level 10, you should never be able to contact someone and not actually hurt them.
Right. Especially if you're this skilled and proficient, you have to be doing those hit points. And so the fact that you never deal less than 2 hit points, happy with. Love it.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, the second paragraph is like just more free damage, which seems to be the theme of this build. I mean, if they fail that reaction roll true, you deal weapon damage to them at half proficiency, rounded up. It's just free damage.
Yes. Yes.
I love it.
I think that's so great. But that's the main reason why I also took it.
Yeah, it's great.
I had to take it. Had to do it. It's just too good. And boring stuff out of the way, HP and stress slot increases. Did that. But it was because of the fact that Onslaught is so good. And it feels like a level 10 card. It's exactly what you want at level 10. That just level of, oh my goodness, I'm able to do what right now? Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's what this card is for me. So, yeah, exactly much like you, it's exactly why I had to take this sucker. But, dude, that's our warriors all the way through to level 10. What'd you think of the warrior build in its entirety after you got done with all this? Between all your options and everything that you could choose, what'd you think of the warrior build?
Yeah, so I'm going to touch to that point that I made like at the very beginning of the episode too, True. It's just a very well thought out class. Yeah. Now, are there instances where I was hoping for a little bit more? Maybe more freedom for domain deck card choices, because there were a couple levels that felt a little lackluster in my choices, and like it feels like going from level 5 to level 6, I didn't get any stronger. I don't feel like I increased my vitality, my strength. I don't feel that. But what I will say about Warrior, it's strong. It's very strong in the right hands.
Yes.
2, it's very fun to play. Martial characters are always really fun to play. 3, amazing for beginners. Now, if someone came to me, because you and I both GM, they're like, hey, I just really want to try out Daggerheart for the first time. I don't really know what to play. They're like, well, my recommendation would be Warrior. Absolutely. Now, if they wanted to go Wizard or whatever, I would let them. But I would definitely recommend Warrior because it's fun, it's easy. You get those badass cinematic moments where you're kind of the face of the party, like in combat, and it's just strong, True. It's just strong. It's your perfect idea of like what Dungeons and Dragons and like Daggerheart and DC 20 are. It's a martial character that goes in and hits an evil guy really hard. And that's what this is.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. I think it's the perfect way to create a fighter of some kind, a warrior of some kind, that is intent on pure damage. Whether that is with heavy weapons, whether that is dual wielding, even if you just go with one-handed weapon and if you neglect the shield, because it's not really a defense-based class here. If you wanted that, that would be more for the Guardian, which is also another great class to get into. But I think Warrior is perfect for a new player that wants to feel like they're going to have an impact, not just on the combat, but even in the story. Like, you can still have an impact in the story just through the sheer force of will that you have as a warrior. Just being there as a weapon that you are, that's a scary moment for a lot of NPCs anyway. So to see you coming in like with the bard, no one's messing with that bard. They're like, I don't want to screw with this if I've got a warrior right here. So I think it's great because then you don't have to worry so much about trying to be the charisma-based person. You can be the damage dealer and have that impact that way, and really kind of test the water a little bit, dip your toes into the pool here to kind of see if this is going to be something that you really want to continue to play in. So yeah, love Warrior for those reasons, and for the same ones that you stated. I just think it's a really great class overall. The features feel good. The subclass isn't bad at all between both subclasses. And between the two domain decks, I think these are good, solid picks. There's probably, like, if I wanted to do more of a warrior that has some defense to it, I'd probably want to get the Glory domain deck in here. One that just gives you a little bit more defensive capability, but really and truly, I'm not unhappy with this class build. It's not like the Sorcerer or the Wizard for me, honestly, where I felt like it's missing something that it should have, but this was perfect. So yeah, absolutely love it.
And you and I are two people who have been playing TTRPGs for years, and I think we would have a lot of fun with this class. But I would also give this to a brand new player. It's very well thought out by Darrington Press.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, hey, that's the Warrior video right there. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down below if you can think of anything that you would have changed, like if you have a better character concept. Even if you're confused about anything you want to know more about, let us know down in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We've got so much content. We got Daggerheart, we got DC20, Genesis. We're getting into so much stuff here on the channel. So very much so hoping that you guys stick with us. And until the next one, keep that shield wall strong.